Globalisation and its impacts on the Australian classroom. Globalisation is defined as the process by which particular goods and services or social and cultural influences gradually become similar in all parts of the world. Globalisation has impacted our world far more than we could know. By economic growth, environmental degradation, greater competition, increased investment, and technological change. But it's not just economies and societies that feel its impact, the education systems do too. On the positive side, it's opened up new learning opportunities, encouraged shared standards, and pushed schools and universities to keep improving. But there's another side as well. Globalization has also widened gaps in access to education and brought about new cultural and political changes. In this video, we'll look at two impacts of globalization on education. First, information technologies. Access to information technologies and to advancing versions of such technologies have been proven to enable both students and teachers to achieve higher standards in their education and teaching abilities. Since 2000, there has been huge leaps in how information technologies have become integral parts of education systems across the world. In 2002, we got the very first version of Moodle. In 2013, it saw the advancement of e-learning software. And in 2020, with COVID-19, it forced the rapid acceleration to digital platforms for education as we all worked and learned remotely. And in 2023, it was the year AI went mainstream. Technologies enable teachers and students in various ways. It provides instant information access, connects classroom learning to the real world, and supports different learning styles. With information technologies becoming almost a necessity in the classroom, there has been an increase in the gap of achievement levels between higher and lower socioeconomic areas and schools. The Department of Education states the average 15-year-old in lower socioeconomic circumstances are an average 3 years behind their peers, particularly in maths and science. This gap can be contributed to less access to suitable devices as well as access to sustainable internet, of which is more costly in remote areas. This is also impacted by parental influences, where STEM disciplines have negative perceptions. The second impact of globalization is multiculturalism and interculturalism. Globalization has affected culture as well and has seen the increase of cultural exchange of food, fashion, music, ideas, and values. However, it's also created space for cultures to homogenize, weakening or standardizing the cultural tradition to the detriment of local traditions. Multiculturalism refers to the coexistence of several cultural groups that live alongside one another. However, they have little interactions and engagement with one another. Interculturalism refers to the mutual exchange of cultural ideas, values, and norms that result in deepened relationships, or at times shared. The increase of information technologies has allowed for greater connectedness across the world, allowing for students to have a great ability to access and see different cultures that would not have been possible 10 years ago. A consequence of this access to information from all around the world and in various formats has made the world feel smaller, particularly in relation to cultures. Globalization is bringing cultures closer together, and we are losing out. This has been noticed and addressed in ways by local schools across the world, but also at home in Australia. Policies, procedures, and devoted events through the calendar year has the aim of acknowledging and celebrating the wider cultural diversity, being Harmony Day, but also the ones closer to home, such as Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander culture in the form of NAIDOC Week. These aim to strengthen our understanding of different cultures around us and to celebrate them, fighting the tide of a globalized monoculture. Though brief, these impacts of globalization have far-reaching implications, ones that I will feel as I enter the teaching profession. A quote from Liz Jackson says, "Globalization in education cannot merely be described as harmful or beneficial, but depends on one's positions, perspective, values, and priorities." The modern teacher in a globalized world has become not the bearer of all knowledge, but the facilitator of students to learn and to navigate a more connected world. Teaching is no longer of the mindset of sit and listen, but rather go and explore. My hope and aim is, as globalization continues to affect the education, is to engage helpfully for the benefit of the students they have, but to also disengage or reorientate when it becomes detrimental. Though not concrete, I hope this proves to be a valuable principle in my teaching journey.